title's not going to do me any favours, but welcome to another episode of Rambler. And yes, after my outburst a few episodes ago, I have decided to return to the topic of Batman, hopefully to end my obsession. So this is kind of therapy for me. Since the filming of the Insanity video, I am sad to say that I have added another few Batman characters to the list of characters I've imitated. Batman, finally a good guy. Ra's al Ghul, or the Demon's Head. And Catwoman. I'm not entirely proud of that night, but at least I no longer have to hide my secret, completely heterosexual interest in women's clothing. I wasn't even drunk, believe it or not. There was also a period of Gene Wilder roles, but that was a completely different chain of thought.
There's no earthly way of knowing. Keep singing.
But seriously, I just need to do one big video about Batman fast and soon to get it all out of my system before I start collecting umbrellas. Anyway, I do admit to a certain degree of lack of overall research on this. I haven't read any of the comics, haven't seen much of the cartoons, but I have watched all of the LA movies, even the one from the Camp 60 series, played 3 of the games, the best ones, and done a lot of YouTube research, so I still think I'm qualified for this topic. Hey, lack of research never stopped a politician. And there goes pretty much all of my political humour. To clarify, in this episode I will be explaining in my own opinion not that Batman sucks as a whole, but that Batman as a character is not as awesome as you believe. That there are other things in the series that make Batman look better. Point 1. Batman is not perfect. Simple as that. Everybody goes on about how Batman is invincible. Well, he's not. He's just the victim of lazy comic book writers who couldn't be bothered explaining how Batman knows to punch a shark in the nose hard enough for it not to bother him again. He's not Chuck Norris, you know. Though that's another silly meme in my opinion. What I don't understand is why they didn't do that for James Bond. He's a pretty capable character. He's been going for longer than Chuck Norris. Not as long as Batman, but James only got serious in the last few years. On a slight tangent about seriousness, I'd just like to alert people to the fact that despite Tim Burton's films being really awesome, he once stated that he doesn't actually read comic books, so someone explain how he even got the job, please? That's the #1 requirement for directing a comic book film. I mean, at least Shoemaker was a proper fan, and if the title of this video doesn't get me killed, this next statement most likely will. But honestly, I actually liked Batman and Robin. But then again, I am pretty easily entertained. Point 2, the Batman-Joker dynamic. I've seen the Joker at the top of many villain lists on YouTube, and I think that he too may be a little overrated. Yes, he is awesome, and yes, he's probably the best villain to fit so perfectly as a counterpoint to the hero he's up against. So yeah, that would make him the best villain ever. But just stop telling me about it. I'm actually sick and tired of how awesome a villain he is. On the one hand, you've got Batman's extremely strong sense of justice and refusal to kill anyone. On the other hand, Joker's batshit crazy. Excuse the pun. No care for other people, does whatever he wants, no matter the rules. Together, 2 joined parts of society's moral puzzle. Point 3, Batman doesn't even have to show up for it to be his story. As I said before, I haven't read the books, but I've heard that Batman is best when he's more behind the scenes of the story than front and center, and that in itself is unique. Just think how many comic book universes are actually better without the singular title character. You can quite easily have stories about just the Joker, Riddler, Gordon, even Alfred without Batman at all, because of my point number 4, great character work. All the writers of the comics, as lazy as they were with Batman's antics, really worked into the depths of the rest of the cast, allies and enemies alike, down to every detail, as much for the minor non-powered characters as with the major non-powered characters. But what? Which brings me to my final and biggest point: Batman could be real. If you think about it, this is probably the most realistic superhero comic book universe ever. Well, maybe second to Watchmen as far as I know, but that was like one short series, not really spread out a lot. Batman is not actually super powered, he's just trained himself super hard and is super rich. Something that anyone with enough determination, time and money can do. I'm looking at you, Gates. I don't care how old or nerdy you are, Ciudad Juarez needs you, so chop chop! Almost every event and character in every Batman story ever is essentially possible in the real world. Except maybe when someone gets brought back from the dead, that's possibly bull, but seriously, you can count the amount of characters with non-realistic abilities and /or origins on one hand. Poison Ivy, Clayface, Solomon Grundy. If you can think of someone else, comment below. You won't get anything for it, but it would be nice to know that somebody's watching for a change. Love me! So that's my thoughts on why Batman sucks. May I never speak or think of him or his universe ever again. At least until I go see The Dark Knight Rises in cinemas this July. As a matter of fact, as soon as I finish this video, I'm off to replace it with a different obsession and go check out My Little Pony. Hey, if it's good enough for a guy who wants to take over the world, what's wrong with me watching it? Well, I do want to keep this video short-ish for a change, so no word of the day or parody song. Sorry. Batman out. Damn it! Pony's here now!
Plop.
Fooled you. Part 3. Batman doesn't even have to be there for it to be his story. And how Batman knows to punch a shark in the nose. Without the singular. Part 3. Batman doesn't even have to be there for... So chop chop. Ow. Give us your balls. Part 3. Batman... Point.